Crank up the volume for the biggest event of the summer. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is incredible, epic, a must-see. It's the best Marvel movie since Endgame.
And you're just telling me now?
Seems intuitive.
I can't stop this feeling.
It's good to have friends.
Deep inside of me.
Experience a brilliant end to a brilliant trilogy.
Exactly, you idiots.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, rated PG-13, in theaters May 5th. Tickets on sale now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another movie review where today I am doing a movie review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I am a pretty big Guardians fan. The second film I like a lot. I saw it several times in theaters when it came out, and this is probably my most anticipated movie of this year. And my most hyped movie of this year by far. And I wanted to share my opinion with you guys. I'm going to try to keep this condensed as much as I can as well. We'll see. But I absolutely loved this movie. Also, this will be a spoiler-free review. I want to add no spoilers in this review. But I really, really like this movie. Now, this is not the happiest movie in the MCU. It is very sad at a lot of points through it. This movie is heavily, which is not spoiler, it's in the trailers, heavily focused upon Rocket and Rocket's backstory. And without getting into too much detail, in case you don't know, Rocket's backstory is not really the happiest backstory that exists in the MCU. And I cried multiple times while watching this movie, as I am a very big animal lover, and I am like, Rocket Raccoon is like my favorite character in the Guardians movies, and in like the MCU, him and Deadpool are like the two top ones for me. It's hard to watch some of the stuff in this movie for me. James Gunn, not that you ever watch this, but thank you. This is such a great send-off. It's also the first Marvel movie to have an F-bomb in it, which is also kind of cool. I hope people like this movie. All the acting is great. From all the main cast members to even Nathan Fillion has a section in this movie, which he was great at. I don't feel like anything in this movie doesn't need to be there. The first credit scene I absolutely love as well. There are two. I absolutely adore the characters in this movie, how they treat each other, and it's very interesting to see Gamora back, because Gamora is a Gamora from a different universe. Or a different time, at least. Especially since if you haven't seen Endgame or Infinity War, you probably should. And the music selections in this movie are great, too. I don't really know what else to say. I know that Sean Gunn, as well, did the voice of Rocket at one point in this movie. Fun fact for you there. This movie had so many aspects that I loved and I adored. And to be honest with you, I can see this movie changing how you view Rocket in the other movies. Sorry, it is late. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see Rocket and see how he is throughout the first two movies and through Infinity War and Endgame, and see and look at his reactions due to his past in a different light. After Guardians 3, you will know Rocket's past. Watching the first and second one again will have a different feeling. It'll have a different feeling because you know more about Rocket. You know why he acts certain ways that make him seem like a jerk. I need to rewatch 1 and 2, and then I want to watch 3 again. But watching 1 and 2 and then 3, seeing all those points in which Rocket is crying or Rocket is struggling through the first 2 movies, knowing what he went through, knowing that that is being brought back every time, is heart-wrenching. You know, Rocket's kind of been the backstone of the franchise for me. He's been kind of a silent guy in the background, and it's been focused around Peter pretty much the entire time. And to say that not lightly, I mean, it mostly has been. Now, don't get me wrong when I say this. This is a Rocket origin movie. But every character has a character arc in this movie. Every character is finished by the end of the film. They all have their goals set in mind, and they're all accomplished. And that is impressive to me. Especially because we have no idea where this is going to go from here with Guardians. Of course, it does say at the very end, somebody blah 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 will return, because they always do that. But obviously, you can show that. You can, you could have that person appear as a cameo in any property, or they could have their own solo movie depending on the character, and that's not even just across this movie, that's across any of the Marvel films, blah 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 will return, this person will return, this person will return. And it's like, it's hard to know, because from my understanding, James Gunn is done. Which, by the way, James Gunn, man, writer and director of this movie, fantastic comedy, fantastic acting, fantastic tension, fantastic tears. Like, this movie just all around is what I needed, and this is the way I described it to a couple of people. I didn't know I needed this movie. I did not know that going into this movie, I would come out feeling such a connection to Rocket and to these characters in this movie and crying through it. I didn't think I would. I want to go watch this in IMAX 3D. I have limited availability to do so, obviously, but I want to, and I'm planning on it, because I'm sure it's going to look gorgeous. But it's just like, I don't know how to feel. I'm happy this movie exists, and I want to watch it over and over and over and over and over, but I don't know where it's going to go. And I'm so happy we have a good Marvel movie. Now, granted, I didn't hate all of them. I dislike Black Panther 2 a lot, not because it's not a well-made movie or well costumed or the soundtrack's, amazing. None of that. The movie was just really depressing. And that movie had a lot of stuff in it that was depressing that didn't need to be depressing. They could have changed it. That's why I love the first Black Panther a lot, is because of how it's not entirely happy, but it's not entirely sad. Black Panther 2 is probably still the most depressing Marvel film that exists. This movie is extremely sad, and, characters can be depressing at points because they are sad, but there's still comedic aspects in it. You can go from a hard scene immediately into a joke. It actually happens several times. And that keeps the levity up. That gets you crying and emotional, and then you laugh it off a little bit, and you get, a little bit of relaxation and tension away from it. And that is intentional. That is written and that is directed in an intentional way. And that's what I think Black Panther 2 was missing. It didn't need to be over the top comedic, but also I didn't need to see this guy's winged feet for several shots in the movie. But this movie just, because I don't want to say much, I don't want to give much away about this movie. I think this movie is best experienced you watching it on your own. I think it's best experienced not knowing anything about it, going in blind, other than the basic details. I don't think you should know plot points. If you don't know Rocket's backstory, if you don't know who's in Rocket's backstory, particularly a certain character, then you want to experience that for the first time, I'm assuming. If you like Guardians, you'll like this movie. For me, this is the best of the trilogy. Now, I say that, but I say that lightly. I say it's the best of the trilogy because you've had 2 other movies that have built up to this, plus 2 big crossover films. This movie is really good because it's set on stone. The stone has been laid, the foundation has been laid, and now you're putting the rest of it on. You're finishing it off. You're completing it. And without having those other movies, this movie wouldn't work because you don't have the character growth. You don't have them knowing Rocket and how, Rocket was. You don't know. You didn't know. And now it's all the more heart-wrenching. And on top of that, I feel like you can go back and rewatch those movies now, and you'll have a completely different experience if you really try to look through the eyes of Rocket in the movies. It's a very unique way of being able to do a franchise like that, a trilogy, a very good trilogy at that, probably the best in the MCU at this point. But I will say 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, 12 out of 10, 13 out of 10, anything 10 over 10 and above. I love this movie. I love this movie a lot. I'm trying to think of more to say, but all you're going to get from me is I love this movie. Go check it out in theaters. Like, this Marvel movie is worth it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Oh, the villain. The high somebody. I can't remember his full name. The villain of this movie was very good. It's the person who experiments on Rocket through his backstory and was a part of his backstory. And he is such a presence in this film. Such a good presence, so well acted. I hope he gets a nomination for something. I hope a lot of people in this movie get a nomination for something. I hope this movie gets nominated for something. It deserves it. It really does. And right now, this movie is my top movie of the year. I'm not going to say that lightly. It's holding my top spot, and I don't think a single movie will cross that threshold. I don't think it'll happen. But please, if you can, go watch. Support. This is the type of movie we need to support. If it bombs or flops, we can lose hope of having a good Marvel franchise in the future. As more than we have already had. And I didn't hate Quantumania. I didn't hate Thor. I didn't hate Doctor Strange. They weren't great, but I didn't hate them. They were fine films. This feels like they're like old Marvel again. This feels like something that I've been waiting for. Like, I've only heard like one negative reaction to it, and I don't even agree with that negative reaction. I'm not going to bring it up because I want you guys to make your own opinions. I want you to go into this not knowing anything, and I want you to decide for yourself if you like it or not. I'm hoping you do, but I want you to decide for yourself. But I'm going to wrap this up a little bit shorter, condensing my thoughts down to about a 15-minute video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go check out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in theaters now. If you're watching this or listening to this much later on, it'll probably be available on streaming and renting, maybe even Disney+. Links will be down below at that point, hopefully, when it's available. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm Star-Lord. I formed the Guardians. Met a girl, fell in love. That girl died. But then she came back. Came back a total dick.
Oh, please.
He left out some important information, but that is the gist of it.
I get the same old dreams, same time every night. Fall to the ground and I wake up.
My sacred mission
Is to create the perfect society.
He didn't want to make things perfect. He just hated things the way they are. I want you all to know that I'm grateful to fight beside my friends.
incinerate them. We were always searching for a family until we found each other.
Are you ready for one last ride?
We'll all fly away together. Into the forever. In a beautiful sky.
Whoever it was that you were in love with, it sounds more like her.
Her? That's ridiculous.
Do not bring me into this.
Knock it off!
What?
Just never noticed how black your eyes were.
They were replaced by my father as a method of torture.
He picked a pretty set.